And hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I know that I've been covering a lot of old episodes, and I actually just watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 1, Episode 1, because we're going to be going back down memory lane for them too. And I have to say, it has been like truly immersing myself in Season 6. It has been so refreshing, one, to see what we truly fell in love with, what really got us to where we are today. And it's been good to catch up with Nene. I have missed Nene. Nene really has become like family. And even though she's not on the show, I see why she will always be talked about. She's floundering right now, we're gonna have to admit it, but seeing what she had done, I have a newfound hope for Nene where I'm like, you know what? You may have fumbled the bag, but we fall down and we get up.
It's harder for a moose to get up after they fall. So we do need to give it a little more time.
That was
And
good.
I mean, she has been sprawled out a while.
For real.
I'm trying to remember, was that season 6, were we one nose job in with her or not yet?
I think we were two. This is definitely new
Oh,
nose Nene. Yes, this is the parrot nose.
because
This is
we
the
had
new
two
this is the
nose
new
jobs,
normal
right?
nose. What?
There were two nose jobs, right? At least on the show. There
There,
may have even been a third.
I really do think there was a third. I really think there was a fourth because I think she had a nose job before she got the new normal. And then when she got the new normal, she really whittled that sucker down and it was giving bird. This is the season where the nose is very rounded. It's got a ball at the end and it's giving a little bit of parrot to me. It's giving a parrot beak nose. And then by the time she ends, she's got it slimmed down a bit more, much more angular. Because I feel like that one, she didn't like it. It was a little more round and she wanted a more angular nose. So I think there's been like 3 or 4 nose jobs.
Like I said, it would not surprise me either if there was the fourth one in there somewhere. But yeah, season 6, we were like one in, maybe.
6, we were 2 in.
2 in. There we go. Okay. Yes. Yes. We were 2 in. Remember, yes.
So yes, so we're 2 noses in with Nene. Um Kenya it's really also interesting to go back and see Kenya really fighting for her position with these ladies, but also irritating them every step of the way.
Yes. She really was like one of those like a locust, wasn't she?
A locust. A true pest.
Right? With those plague driving insects. Yes. I mean, she was Gone with the Wind, Twirl Fabulous. There was a lot in the beginning.
Yes, Gone with the Wind Fabulous, which was this season. Then she gave us wait, no, well, Gone with the Wind Fabulous was last season. She gave us this one. Her and Phaedra are still going at it. I think this reunion is when Portia is going to snatch that wig.
Oh, I mean, if you had a bullhorn in my face, I might be violent. I mean, we have to hand it to that scenario.
We really do. We really do. I think it's also gosh, it's there's a quality though. Like even with like Apollo and Phaedra's marriage going off the rails, Kenya being Kenya. You know what? I would say when Candy is a bright spot, and Nene actually was a bright spot back then. Like how she would get Portia together for not being a good friend, and like there was, you know what? There was true, you saw that some of the girls really did want to be friends. Like Nene and Cynthia, that was real friendship. Candy and Phaedra, that was real, and that is missing now. There's a
Yeah.
corniness that is, you
Hmm.
know, I have this feeling when I'm rewatching it of like, this is delightfully corny. There is a corniness that is missing because like now in Potomac, it's so serious and sad and deep and lonely, like Giselle or Robin's bank account.
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that because I was going to ask you. Portia dragging Kenya by the hair across the stage at a reunion is maybe one of the most violent moments we've had on the franchise, right? I mean, although Potomac now I think may have actually upped that fight with the bar fight once we saw the footage, right?
Hmm.
Um, what do you feel like the difference is? Because we forgive that one. Like we forgave the violence. We didn't treat it like um we didn't look at these women like how dare you perpetuate a stereotype or whatever, right? Like we all kind of like got over it. But we did not in a way there was a different level of like weird outrage with the Potomac violence. What do you think that is?
I think one, there was no undercurrent of colorism. And with Monique, there
Mm,
definitely was. There was always that, ooh, this could be this isn't just light fun and shade and Kenya being annoying and finally getting her comeuppance.
right.
Um it was very orchestrated, and everybody everybody was so tense before. I think also there was a level it was funny because Kenya didn't see it coming, and I think that everybody, like, I think the fact that nobody saw it coming maybe,
Well,
but
she was
Kenya
also being
definitely didn't.
absurd. She was being absolutely absurd with props, like and a bullhorn in. You know what I mean? Like she literally was antagonizing something, and it was had fallen into the absurd with these. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of what it was for me. It's like, well, you can't say this was out of the complete realm of possibility because bitch, you brought a bullhorn.
Right. I would say that because it was so absurd. That was
Right.
such a good word.
Right.
Because of the absurdity, because it was so obvious you were pushing and prodding rather than, oh, did this person push him? Was it Giselle? Well, I saw Giselle push. I didn't see it. And everybody was, you know what, we all agreed Kenya got what she deserved. A lot of people
Yeah.
feel like, some people are team Candace, some people are team Monique. Everybody was pretty much team Kenya. You got what was coming to you.
Right. Because bitch, you brought a bullhorn to a bullfight. Brought a bullhorn and got a bullfight.
For real. Also, this was, let's see, 10 years ago. So this was, let's see, 2014. So a lot of the serious conversations we hadn't had, it wasn't, there was still the conversation of, is it a stereotype or aren't we allowed to argue as well? And because it wasn't to the level of Love and Hip Hop, it was still considered a classy brawl.
And Portia was, remember as she laid on the floor crying, she was horrified at her own loss of control. We all know that she also ran down the street to go kick some girl's bootay that she had to settle with. So we know that the violence ensued. The embarrassment didn't last too long. but
Um, Miss Min said, I may be in the she corrected minority, but Monique's
Yes.
rage was justified. She just got the wrong person. I think that is another issue. I think that in the aftermath, a lot of people also felt like Giselle set it up, like Giselle was really the one that should have gotten it. And I think that also muddled the emotions where with Portia versus Kenya, it was cut and dry. Nobody was in the middle.
I still stand by 100%. If you look at the footage, the way that Monique describes the series of events and like Candace, it's because Giselle pushed Monique back that little bit that started it off. Like if you look at the footage, Giselle pushes Monique back first when they were right up in each other's faces.
Yep. I saw that from my vantage point
And
too.
she has skeetered out of ever having anybody put her feet to the fire about the fact that you put your hands on Monique in a tense moment. Now, you may have been concerned that Monique was in Candace's face, but you sparked it though because you pushed her away. We saw it.
And yeah, it was. And so when you have that third party, rather than you're watching somebody getting what they have coming,
Yeah.
it's different. I also think though, just the era and the lightheartedness was different because I think we thought Kenya and Portia could get on the good foot if Kenya accepted responsibility. Candace never would accept any responsibility for her part in it, and still won't to this day.
No.
So I think that's something else where Kenya was able to admit, okay, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I provoked you and I admit it, I go too far. And, Portia admitted the same. So there was able to be, in the words of Whitney, healing.
I think too the subject matter between Monique and Candace was maybe what was the reason why it was harder to move past because Monique really snapped in violence because the level of rumor that was going around about her and her family and her child and her baby and her miscarriage was really gross.
That's
Like,
true. That's true. That is another great point. This was rooted in, you said you were rumored to be spreading a rumor that was beyond foul.
really foul that she was cheating on Chris and that the baby that she had miscarried was not his, or then the one that she just had that looked exactly like him, that boulder had a little pebble. There was no question. But like that baby might not be his. And like either way, it's a very, very dark accusation for a friend group, and I put that in quotes.
Mm-hmm. So I understand that. I think that's another great point.
Yeah.
The fight with Kenya, it was over. Okay, you tried it. She denied it.
Right.
I also think, and subject matter is another one. Now we're going to see, I believe it's season after next, when Phaedra spreads that lie to Portia, and then things turn dark, like with Monica and Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, there's never going to be any healing over there because that show really kind of started out on a dark path with Jen Shaw.
It sure and Mary. Let's not
Mm,
forget, you know.
the grandfather fucker.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the one that apparently used the R word slur.
Oh, yes. About one of Lisa's children. And if I'm going to say something about Lisa's children, it's they have rickets from her not giving them any vegetables.
No, that's funny and true.
Exactly.
And
That's how you
excellent.
talk about children.
Seriously. And she has no room to talk. Her son was arrested for posting a bevy of illicit substances on his Instagram stories.
Ooh.
Yes, like not just not just weed or something low level, like bars, all the slang for the things,
Mm.
the liquid, for your cough, all of, you know what I mean, like, so yeah, Mary, your house ain't so pure with all your little dusty rotting designer things.
He
And your
sounds like one of those people that hang in front of 7-Eleven and sell drugs to crackheads.
I think he is one. He might have been arrested for that. um
Oh.
yeah, but yeah, I do think you're right, because when we got to Atlanta and the lies, they it was a very dark accusation, right? And that's why Candy put her foot down and refused to ever lift it off of Phaedra's neck, because she's like, you can't take it to that level, and that needs to be respected, whether or not you agree. Do you agree? Do you think that's a time? Like, do you think there's a level to where, because she's kind of the only housewife that's ever really gotten away with that and it stuck. Do you know what I mean? Because like nowadays, like Ariana has to be with the man that cheated on her, on the same show. So they don't give a fuck what's been done.
I mean, just I feel like what when you accuse someone of a crime, you don't want to film with them anymore. I also feel like that made Phaedra a liability. Because if you have somebody that's willing to spread a lie that foul and accuse two people of a crime, because that's a crime.
Yeah.
That's two big felonies,
Well,
big
and
felonies.
I'm not gonna let you insinuate that I would drug and assault a coworker, a fellow, like a friend, like all of those things.
Yeah, exactly. So I think because of that, it was like we can't have you back. It wouldn't be authentic for her to film with you. It wouldn't be authentic to expect healing. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the rest of the cast said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to film with that. And because she never sued, they said, you know what, and there's been this groundswell for her, which I never understood. But she was such the fan favorite. Everybody's always begged and pleaded, Phaedra, 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 that they then gave her another chance. But we've never really cleared it up with her and who started the rumor and why Carlos King has never gone back to Bravo, but will also never stop talking about them. Because it's like, girl, go
Mhm.
back to Bravo at this point. Because this shit you doing on OWN for 2,500 an episode
Nope.
ain't worth it.
Well, what's interesting is that I feel like his TV, the proof is in the pudding, because Carlos may say that he had nothing to do with that, but like at the same time, he's entertaining the Martell and Mel situation, and in my opinion, that's gone that level dark. Like if he's mistreating his children and he's trying to put out revenge pee about her with a video that the two of you know what I mean? Like, um, he's been arrested for domestic violence, like all of that stuff. You're kind of getting into the level of like the same kind of thing, right? Like, I,
And you never know if it could get worse because you're condoning it. You're letting him know this is okay. I was like, I guess he can't put him off the show because that's his cash cow.
I mean, I can't lie. It's like a guilty pleasure to watch that shit, but it doesn't feel healthy. Especially last season when they were in the same house together and Mel was knew that this revenge plot was going around and you had to be in the same room with, you know what I mean? Like I would lose my stuff. It was fascinating to watch, but at the same time, you're like, "Ooh, this is a train wrecky so bad. This is, ooh, toxic." But I think that, um, you know, there's a similar quality to kind of the darkness that was like supposed like the entertainment for that season, right? Well, because we also noticed Phaedra didn't try to stand behind that rumor at all. There was no leg. There was no even an attempt at receipt. There wasn't even an attempt to justify.
Yeah, well, they had all. I guess she had really decided. I guess I'm gonna have to, fall on my sword at
Yeah.
this reunion.
I mean, if I had heard it from someone else, I would pass that hot, stinking piled potato and be like, this is who I heard it from. This is why I passed along the gossip. So sorry that I perpetuated a really ugly rumor, but I was mad at you, so I was happy to deliver. But she didn't have anybody to serve up. And I always wondered why. Um, Partially, I understand that Phaedra also never shows her hand. I mean, this is the woman that tried to pretend she didn't know how far along she was in her pregnancy because she didn't want to admit that she had gotten pregnant before marriage.
True. So she will look foolish, to keep things to herself.
She,
But I would have thrown Carlos under the bus. And if it wasn't Carlos, then who was it?
yeah, because to wear the stink of being someone that like basically bears the burden of being the not just the perpetuator but the originator, right? Because she's not passed the buck off that this is who I heard it from. So she basically took the scarlet letter of being the one that started this. You know what I mean? So it's like, who are you protecting and why, if you are at all?
And that's true. And then also, how is it that Carlos left the network and never came back right at that same time? What happened with him?
Hmm. And how come he never talks about their separation? He certainly talks about their shows and the directions and the choices that they're making, and he loves to critique, but he's never explained to us exactly why they've parted ways and never reconciled.
And I feel like he would have said, "Oh, well, I can't. I wanted to do my own shows, so I had to leave Bravo." And also, why wouldn't Bravo let you do your own shows? Like I will say Bravo does need to start working with some black production companies. That's definitely not a good look for them. But like I figured you've got Kingdom Reign Entertainment, although I gotta say, you've seen the first episode of the Never Mets, right?
I saw you like while you were reviewing it.
That show is by Bunyam and Murray, the people that were
Hmm.
going to produce the Queen's Court back when Kaya was on it. Um, that show looked so good. Like the way it was shot, it just looked so much more professional. I really want to ask Carlos, or actually hand him a step stool so that he can step his pussy up.
You can ask him to get it off the shelf where he has those shoes back there with the dusty shoes.
Oh, exactly. In his real, it's like you supposedly have a nice house. You can't get an office. You got to do this in your closet.
Back in it, even.
At
Uh,
his age, he should be out and proud.
do you think I've always wondered if this was a possibility on Carlos's exit? Is that the network just said this was way too dark and that um Candy is really livid that you let this like be a storyline. We don't think it's a good look, even though they didn't necessarily think he was the one that started it. Maybe it was like we're getting rid of Phaedra and you for the fact that this storyline like made it to the light of day.
That's a good one. That you were stupid enough to
Right.
not vet this, and it came from nowhere. And now we have to deal with it. And now we have lost talent because of you. You're also supposed to keep the talent from ruining themselves, and you failed miserably.
And then, Candy always claims that her falling out with Carlos was about the escape, him trying to do, like, take that away from her. Do you think that happened simultaneously? Or do you think, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to piece together, like, what could have possibly happened based
I
on.
think that happened. I think him double crossing her happened first.
Oh, okay. So maybe she'd be more prone, you know what I mean? Like, there'd be more pressure to get rid of him because there's no love lost.
Yes. There's no I think so. I think there was no love lost.
Yeah, because I just feel like somebody had to be the fall guy maybe in the situation, and like it turned into Carlos and Phaedra. Because like I said, he sure as heck doesn't talk about it. And if you were wronged, especially with the way he talks about things, you would think that he would honestly discuss it or even allude to it, even if he had an NDA that prevented him from really speaking on it. But he doesn't even whisper what exactly went down.
Yeah, because he talks about it might be a strong NDA.
He talks about everything else. Like and I will give him this. I did appreciate what he said about Caroline Manzo because he put in perspective to me with the whole lawsuit situation. He said working with Caroline on the New Jersey Housewives, she was very conservative and like always cared about her image and how respectable and like how she looked. She didn't like to be them to curse in front of her. She didn't like dirty jokes. Like, so that made me realize that her being on camera making out with Brandy and talking drunkenly about her sister really is a huge reason why she doesn't want this footage to ever make the light of day.
I want it to all the more.
Me too, I know. Side note, sorry, rambling tangent, but this is the highs and the low lows podcast discussion where we slip and slide all over. But I back to the Carlos situation. I think that was the first time that like something a dark accusation really had the power to banish.
To banish.
Because Phaedra got banished, basically, right?
Yes.
And it took a very long time for her to even like get close enough to circle the drain. And still, even though she was wildly popular on Girls Trip and Traders and all of that, that if Candy had stayed on, Phaedra would not have returned.
And Phaedra's still staying on Married to Medical.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm sorry. Throw her over to Atlanta. Like, why? Like, it's all up in the air now. I'm
I
not
I
saying,
don't think I don't think Phaedra has the it to be on Atlanta anymore. She
yeah.
wants to be on Married to Medicine. She wants a lower level of shade.
And you know what she wants to do? She wants to have one-liners. She wants to have her little, like, squinty-eyed, like, looks on her face. You know what I mean? She wants to
Mhm.
have nobody really deeply in her business. She wants to trot Apollo out, like a freaking, like one of those llamas at a petting zoo when you need him. You know what I mean? So
Well, you know what? We've seen Apollo more than Juan Dixon.
we sure have. So yeah, I guess you're right. Because even on Traders, she was selling personality. She wasn't pushing storyline in the sense of like exposing herself.
Yeah, I think that we're getting the softer side of the Phaedra rebrand.
Yeah, and she is Sears level for sure.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, I agree. And I think that Atlanta, you're right. It is gonna take more. I mean, and the housewives have no problem going for the personal.
I th- I I almost think we need to stay away from the too deep personal. I think for
Yeah.
Housewives, really watching season 6, we
Hmm.
need fun auntie shade. And I think for that to happen, we either need happy marriages or good dating. These girls also, like, most of them were in a happy position in their life in season 6. Portia's making her own money, happily divorced, Kenya's finding her way, still has hope for love. Candy celebrating new love. Nene reconnected with old love. All these girls had some joy in their life and in their heart where they had struggles, but their struggles were like, oh, we've got to get the Bailey agency open, or Peter bought a new car without telling me, or my sister's coming with her unpleasant expressions. Well, actually, those were all of Cynthia's problems. Or Sheree, getting, or Chateau Thelma. Like, it was
Mm,
things that were like, they were fun. They were funny rich people problems that you could shade somebody about, and it wasn't that serious. Rather than, like, we could make fun of Kenya's, lack of a man when she gets in everybody else's marriage.
right. And she was flirting with Apollo. So, it's not that she was completely undesirable, but she was somehow repellent to men.
Oh, oh. Oh, ooh, ooh, I got to take it back to Sheree. Ooh. Oh my goodness. It's not that she wasn't undesirable. She was just somehow repellent to men. Mm, a read. A read.
And stayed that way.
And I think that all the franchises need to realize this. Y'all have to get some happier women. I think that,
Mm,
the focus on all these problems that are people that have problems that are too deep, they're not going to be able to bring joy to the show. And, like Giselle, everybody can tell you seem like a very unhappy person. So
well,
that's why you would be involved in rumors that are so deep and so nasty. That's what you expect of people that aren't happy with their own lives.
my biggest complaint with Giselle, it's like, what are you doing otherwise? You're one of those people that, like, it really feels like you have nothing to show us other than, like, your kids. And you're in such a position to have a lot more to show us, but you're not
Oh my
doing it,
God.
you
You
know?
you have such a point. I mean, she's very beautiful and she's willing to wear anything.
Oh, God.
Anything at all. So I feel like she should go on down to Maryland Tent and Awning and just put on some tents and model some car covers because it would be better than the crap that's in your closet.
You better that what went down the runway for DNA.
Oh my God. I mean, but I would say I so agree with you that Giselle, well, then again, what can she really do?
Well, nothing is what she's proven. Because where did every hue go?
Nowhere.
Um, Nobody wants to wear anything that they had on that they designed. Nobody wants that. Mm-mm. And that was far worse than She by Sheree, and that was a debacle.
Oh, I mean, she buys. I know she buy. I know Sheree is mad. She ain't gonna be able to sell her little crap at a booth at BravoCon this year.
I know. She needs every penny that she can get off those merch sales now that she's actually got some stuff from Shein.
I will also say maybe Sheree keeping her personal life personal has helped her, where she's like, look, I will have some fool come on the show so that I can be pitied, but this is not the venue to really air my deep problems, my deep financial problems.
But what's funny is her and Kenya always had a rival, like which one of your mold infested homes or your home in a ditch, which one's the worst one, which one has. And now, if you look at both of them, have had absolute like shenanigans on the show with the men they've dragged on to be their love interest, and I put that with geeky ass air quotes because like Tyrone, get the f
Martell.
out. Yeah. Oh my God. Martell. I heard. So the rumor is she's rehiring him because she's going to be back on. But I'm like, no, don't. Nobody want that. Nobody, Sheree. It's worse idea than going on camera too soon after the nose job you got last season.
And that was a bad idea.
Oh my God, I was never so upset. I'm like, oh, you ruined your face. Now it's settled in better, so I'm happy for her. It didn't look so drastic. But I remember that first confessional and I was like, oh, no, what did you do?
Got a nose job in the middle of the season.
Went too far. You look weird.
Exactly. She like because those can take a long time to settle. I don't know why she got it done.
I know. Desperate times. Maybe there was like, a limited time offer discount.
Of course. Of course, Sheree would have to get her surge on the low.
On the freebie. Yeah, I mean, because I'm trying to think, like, let's think of, other really, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, off the top of my head, like, other really, like, dark rumors that kind of, like, put a halt to a situation on a show. You know what I mean?
Um, well, I mean, when we found out that Monica was reality Von Tease.
Right. Well, okay, there we go. Let's ratchet our way over to the ratchet Salt Lake City. No, but actually, I'm sorry. Let me pivot back real quick. I will say you're absolutely right that when it gets too dark, it's like, what are we doing here, everybody? We have lost fun shade. And I think that part of that happens when the franchise has been on too long and nobody's really friends anymore. And that was what, like you said, that's what had happened to Atlanta, for sure. And that's what happened with Potomac. And that's why both of the franchises have really started to fail. It's happening with Orange County, too, to be honest. Some of them are friends, but not enough of them. So it's a struggle bus.
And I will say, too, I think that on Atlanta, we saw natural friendships develop. And that's what made Atlanta win. We had one big group of friends, which was really two smaller groups of friends that knew each other and messed with each other. And okay, we can all get along together. But, the talls are one group and the smalls are another group. But they were authentic friendships,
Right.
and they made authentic friendships when they joined the show. Like, they weren't really friends off camera. I mean, before the show, they did the show and they became friends. On Potomac, Rob and Giselle were true friends. They knew of Karen. They might have met that heifer once or twice, but we didn't see the building of authentic friendships on Potomac. And I don't know if we're seeing the building of authentic friendships on Housewives of New York. I don't know about that authenticity.
Yeah, I need to see season 2 to see what the hell y'all have done. You did it.
And also it's because now, like, the Housewives prize is so large. Like, back in season 6, like, these girls knew they were doing something, but they were not worldwide like they are today. And so I feel like even when Potomac came on the scene, they knew, okay, we want to get this. And so trying to get to Atlanta derailed them, because what really made Atlanta Atlanta was authentic, genuine friendships. And
Yep.
also how the ladies will have each other's back when, somebody says something, and okay, you're not going to talk about my friend like that, and I'm going to step up and say something because I know I want. We don't have any of that on Potomac. We didn't have any of that in New York. Like, when you do have it, it's very calculated. It's very, I want to scene. It's not real. And season 6, this was real reality TV. These girls really did like each other. They really did want to foster a sense of sisterhood.
Yep. I mean, think about how it started because Kim, Kim and her plastic hair, Nene and Sheree had known each other for quite a while. You know what I mean? Like there was enough history and of
Ooh, Nene and Sheree were authentic frenemies. And I
mhm.
would even say the same about Candy and Nene, where this is another, this is such a good conversation. Thank you so much for joining me for this. I'm having a real epiphany. They were also, you had not just authentic friendships, but authentic frenemies, but there was a healthy and mature level of respect. Take Candy and Nene. They would always butt heads, but Candy, to this day, will always big up Nene and be like, Nene would always have a problem with me, but I respect Nene. I respect her hustle. What she's done is incredible. And I feel like you have to have that with your enemies on a show like this, where you can't have an enemy, you have to have a frenemy.
You know
Where
where you know where I think we started to see some of that like on a dangerous level to where it just like went downhill was on Dallas.
mm,
Because remember, I don't know if you remember, but like the rumors were really remember how that like the rumors were really mean and like the main chick, what the heck was her name? She like the rumors kind of got dark and vicious. And she was always threatening somebody with a knife. I just feel like when there's no trust on the cast that you're not gonna go to certain places, then the chemistry falls apart.
right, right. There's a level of, like, how Nene went off on Phaedra when Phaedra tried to bring her sisters around. And, even Candy was like, ooh, I would never try to do that. Like with Giselle, you pull anything. You would do anything to Candace, which is why the trust is gone, which is why Candace can say, well, I can't trust her, so I can, you never know what she'll do. And so when you have that, you never know what she'll do. It You really do imagine the worst, and it also, your guard is so up, it's like you're over it. It's not, you're not able to throw fun shade at that point. You're talking about dwindling uteruses, because that's where you go with somebody you hate. With the frenemy, you're not going to talk about their dwindling uterus. You're going to talk about an odd quirk. You're going to talk about the back of Nene's head.
Yeah, and that actually goes back to the point of um the Potomac fight with Monique. It wasn't just I was thinking this we're having epiphanies tonight. It wasn't just that the ugly rumors were brought to the table. It's remember she was told that people conspired at Andy's baby shower. Like, what are we gonna do to like, what storylines are we gonna plant? What are we gonna bring up? You know what I mean? To get it going for the next season. So Monique was even more livid, kind of the way that Candace is now, because what Giselle is willing to do is bring to light something super duper dark or insinuate that Chris, a husband had improper intentions. Um, and those castmates are looking at her like, you are not a fucking castmate, you are an enemy.
Right, exactly. When you're attacking people's husbands' careers,
You're
when you're attacking
strategizing.
people's marriages, and you don't have a marriage of your own to attack where, it could be equal footing.
Right. Or the fact that like you don't talk about yourself or you don't let like that you conspire and strategize to take a look at some kind of rumor or something that or blow something up out of proportion, take something and put an edge to it, a spin on it that is out of thin air. Chris wanting to talk to you in private because he wanted to talk crap about how annoying Candace was being, right? He was trying to appeal to Giselle to get her to help with kind of Candace, who had been popping off so much that season, she wasn't favorable.
Right.
So
And he also, like, Giselle, it's going to be very interesting to see who you have to pick on. And now also you painted yourself as a bully, and you really, like, this was a season to turn it around, and you didn't. And now you're looking old because you're looking immature. Now Karen is looking regal. She is looking mature. You look old when you look immature at your age.
Karen's also looking a little drunk.
True.
I'm just saying. Ooh, I mean, let's not forget something's going on with Karen, and it's not grief. I'm curious, right? Because like I agree with you. Karen has throughout this entire time managed to kind of keep certain things about her under wraps. We know she's kind of absurd with the way that she lies. Um, but like wait, but why did Chris think Giselle? That's fair. Well, because she's kind of like the kingpin.
I was gonna say she is an unofficial producer,
Right?
and Chris has always been Candace's handler and Candace's peacemaker. And I think that Chris could have brokered some type of mutual understanding between them before they got to this place of no return. And I
I
think that's what he wanted. I think he wanted to keep the cast together. He knew that Giselle was good for the show. He knew that Candace was good for the show.
mm-hmm.
I think that he was like, could you please tone it down with my wife? Like, you know how she is. We're taking it too far. I am trying to rein her in, but you like that's all he wanted to do was plead his wife's case and try to keep the show going smoothly, which is what I would try to do too with that kind of money coming in the household. I'd be telling Juan, show up, look, let's not rock the boat. We working here. They will replace us.
I also think he genuinely liked Giselle, and I think that's partially why what she did really got to him because he's
I
like,
think
I
so
thought
too.
we were friends, but you're literally willing to take this moment between us that was not in any way like what you're insinuating, and you're willing to do that to have a storyline at my expense. Cool,
Yeah, at the
cool.
expense of my career. Like, and I mean, I also saw why, Michael stepped away from the show and decided to sue Candace because he's like, you're not going to make me a husband a plot line. No, you can say anything you want about my wife, and you know that. And I'm not going to get in the way. But, once you start bringing me into it to insult her, I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm not going to get into it with the woman. So I'm just going to sue you to shut you up. And then you're not going to say anything about my old balls or who I'm putting my penis in or anything else.
That man deserved every exploitation he got. He was sloppy and stupid. He got caught in a hotel by some hooker. He had he anyway. But I agree with you. I think that that's exactly why he did it. But I'm just saying, Michael Darby, you did that to yourself, your own Gollum self.
I don't believe that.
You
What
don't think
I
he touched the pussy?
No, well, oh, the cameraman. No, that went away too quickly. I
Hmm.
and these this is the thruple couple. I believe that was a throuple and then it turned into a shakedown. And that's why Monique was somehow involved in footage and there was magically footage appeared or disappeared. I think it was a shakedown. And and what Monique knew is that they was messing with the camera guy. I think that's what was going on. I also think
Oh.
that the quote unquote affairs, I think were sanctioned. I think that marriage was open like a supermarket at noon on Tuesday. I think that marriage was open like my heart. I think that marriage was open like legs at 2 a.m. I think that marriage was open. And the getting caught honestly seemed more like her plot line. Like I feel like that there's something about the story that was so that just felt planted. And I feel like it was a way for I think they were going to try to be the first open marriage couple, and it I think the network decided, you know what, we've tested this story, we've tested the waters, so we're going to go with no. I could totally see Bravo doing
I would
that.
have respected them so much more if they had, because they really did. They were kind of like the best example of like two people that I do think married because they cared about one another, but absolutely had an agenda with one another and an open marriage. Like Ashley enjoyed traveling with Michael. I think she liked his personality. I think she has daddy issues, but I definitely don't think she would have been going after him had the money not been there as well. The lifestyle, right? And he,
Right.
I think, genuinely enjoyed her company too, but it was because she was hot and willing to bring in a circus to go along with it. Because obviously the second that fell away from their marriage because she had kids and didn't want to do it like that anymore, he was like, I'm done.
I also I don't think that they're quote unquote done. I think that the fact that they ain't divorced yet, I could be wrong, but I think that he just didn't want to do the show anymore. I think that was really what happened. He didn't want to do the show anymore, and he just said, you know what, we're going to act like we're getting divorced. That'll give you a plot line. Will there, won't they? Um, but we're not seeing either of them with anybody. And the fact that she ain't divorced him, like lock, stock, and barrel, like I'm moving on, I want to be free. She's still rubbing his feet every night. She ain't going nowhere. And she might be open to the marriage being open again.
Yeah, I I admit I was so wrong. I was saying that she had gold dug smartly. I was so wrong because
Well, if she's holding on to his ass, she's still gold digging smartly because if you're really gonna gold dig, what do you want? Let's say it on three. One, two, three. Widow money.
oh yes.
Widow money. Widow money. Widow with two kids. Mm, mm, mm. That's what you really want. Fuck a settlement. Take it
She
all. Tax free. Take it all. Every last penny. Everything in his name immediately yours. The widow money. I'd hold on. In this economy,
mm.
better hedge your business, commit bigamy and hedge your bets. Just don't let nobody know.
Well, he does have, I think, two kids from his first marriage, so there are some other ones to split assets with. But the smartest thing that she did was have an anchor baby, one and two.
Yeah, those. And if she stays married to him, and I would say divorce for what? How old is he? He's in his 70s? Because she's in her
Uh,
30s.
I think he was in his early 60s when we first
Early.
met them.
Okay, well, it's only been 8 years, so late 60s, early 70s.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, she could have early 70s. She's 10-ish, another decade. I mean, that, I don't know. You already put 10 years in. You may, that's, you may as well go on and re up.
He might also have an exotic accident
An exotic accident, a
because
run
he
of the mill
travels.
aneurysm.
He might, do something dumb while in Thailand or Bali or something, and
A motorcycle accident, a shark, a barracuda, an infection. Anything could lead you to widow money. Widow money.
drugged drink, robbed in an
And,
alley, left for dead.
and also, maybe she really did get a good deal with that prenup. And she's just saying, oh, I'm not really going to get anything. Because, like, yeah, I ain't divorcing them. So, no, you're not going to see a change in my lifestyle. Because I'm not getting anything because I'm not leaving.
Right. Well, that's what I thought she was saying, was that her prenup was so bad that she actually was doing better by kind of staying in limbo, because if she stayed in his good graces, then she could
Ooh,
still use the credit cards and all of that kind of stuff.
married
Oh,
until
you cut
the
out there.
kids get out of high school. Oh, it's cutting out.
You cut out for just a second. So, like, what did you say before the kids? Sorry.
Oh, I could see them saying, we're going to stay married until the kids graduate high
Mm.
school. I could see them being like, we're non-traditional tradition.
I think she would have gotten him to divorce her so fast if Luke from Summer House had stuck around.
She got two kids. Luke ain't got, I don't think Luke has his kind of money.
Oh no.
He's got money that makes money. I know Luke has a business, but Luke's business kind of depends on Luke being on Summer House and being, famous. Like, I'm sure Luke will do okay after Summer House, but I feel like he ain't gonna be Michael after
No.
Summer House.
No, he's not even on it right now. No, I think that no, I think she was just genuinely really, really attracted to and into Luke. I think that she was like thirsty for somebody that she was genuinely attracted to, money or not. she got
Yeah,
I think
I
she
could
got
definitely see
dickmatized.
that. She could finally, think about just herself and not what kind of man Michael wants.
Exactly. Although she has did say that she's been traversing the lady pond lately.
Ashley said that?
Yes. The last
Oh
time she was
God.
on Watch What Happens Live.
Well, you know what? That makes sense because now Ashley, now remember in season 6, it's all about Todd being an opportune tune.
That's right. Mama Joyce and her
Ashley,
lemons.
mm-hmm. Ashley is a true opportunist.
Yes.
And I could see her going les because she's got them two kids. She
Power
knows
lesbian.
she knows I could get a power lesbian, a money DYKE to help me raise and bankroll and maybe teach me a little something about finance since I didn't learn anything in prenup school.
Or posting up school.
Right.
She should call Rosie O'Donnell and see if she's seeing anybody.
Or if she has any friends.
Rosie loves kids.
Yeah, and especially in the DC area, I could see her finding a financially fit female that would want to to mother along with her.
Listen, stranger things have happened. I mean, you know, some sound financial strategy, if you're going to stick with opportunism, wouldn't hurt you.
I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Really seems smart to me with them two kids.
Yep. We shall see, I guess. I think she's returning. I don't know. I'm very ambivalent about her these days. I don't feel like a lot, you know. She just has crazy friends she brings to the party these days.
God. Oh, now Kiana's supposed to be coming back.
I yes, and you know, considering she had a glass smashed on her forehead, I'm glad that they're giving her another shot.
Me too. She deserves it. She really, well, they're giving her another shot, just not to the face.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. They're like, we're gonna actually let you be on camera instead of be a casualty of war.
Mm. And on that note, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
You can catch me mainly on Instagram, psychic_ELB. Hit me up if you want to get a psychic reading. I've been doing them for the Biffas. We've been having a good time. You know, we just had eclipse season. Maybe find out what's going on heading as we head into spring. Summer's just around the corner. If you say Alex sent you, you get a little discount. You can also catch me on Ray Ray All Day's channel on YouTube where we do a drag race review. We just ended season 16 and we'll be reviewing All Stars.
All righty. And on that note, I will see y'all soon for something.